Yo, yo, yo. You're on, buddy.
Hey, welcome to Critters in Taiwan, a D&D podcast where we talk about Critical Role, a nerdy ass podcast where a bunch of nope, that's not right. Whatever they are. I'm lost. It's been a long day. We're talking about Critical Role,
Yeah,
where
we
a bunch
do.
of nerdy ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons.
There you go.
I'm Ben,
I'm Tim.
and we're Critters in Taiwan, and I'm tired.
It's vacation, and we're both. Well, I'm not
Yeah,
that
it's on
tired,
vacation,
actually.
man. It's great. It's great. We're on Chinese New Year holidays here. It's
Yep.
awesomeness.
It's one of those nice things.
Yeah.
Living in Taiwan, you get this paid vacation, man. It's crazy
Hell
to say
yeah.
that sometimes.
Well, some of us get paid vacation, some of us don't.
Oh, well, maybe I'll speak for myself.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, hey, so we're I'm Ben, he's Tim, we're Critters in Taiwan, and we're talking about everything Critical Role related. So spoilers.
And today we're talking about episode 11, which I don't know the name.
Chasing Nightmares.
Chasing Nightmares.
Yeah, Chasing Nightmares.
Yeah.
So
much happened. How do they choose a name for this one?
I get it, but okay.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk a lot about it.
We'll get there.
Yeah, so
get the spoilers in.
Yeah, housekeeping stuff.
Do I need to say anything before we start?
Nah.
God damn, it's only been a week.
I know. Let's just get right into it. I got my D20, my big
Sure.
35 millimeter D20. Pull out yours. If you don't know the score, Tim and I do rollies to determine who gets to talk first, and then we go from there.
Clearly a theme going on here again. All right, blasting off from the top, eh? Let's go.
Let's just do it. Go.
Right. Ooh, my first natty 20.
Oh, man. Right on. I rolled
What did I beat
high,
out?
too.
What did you get?
17.
17? Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm beating it
Well
out.
done.
Woo-hoo.
Well done. Well done.
It's only like shit. I never really roll the dice. Okay, I'm going to start right off into the meat of this fucking thing.
Ooh,
This
go.
point I have here, I'm just going to start from the top and the bottom. The bigger ones are towards the top. First of all, this episode was so goddamn entertaining. They're just getting better and better, and I'm not going to sit here and Chris Farley about it. Like, remember this is awesome. Remember this is awesome. If you're not aware of how awesome the show is and how entertaining it is, fucking start watching it, you dumbass. So I'm not going to talk a lot about, oh, remember that? That was hilarious. I'm going to get into the meat here. Could they all have turned had they agreed to volunteer? Because that was one avenue they could have taken. He was like, you want to volunteer? I'm sure Matthew would have put a spanner in the works. Is that the right word for English folks?
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
a stick in the spokes, as we say back home.
You want me to answer this honestly?
Absolutely. I don't think he would have allowed it.
Mechanically, no. As far as I understand how
Lycanthropy?
Yes,
Is that right?
lycanthropy. Yes. As far as I know how lycanthropy works, it doesn't automatically turn you.
Right.
Now
there's a
that's
chance.
sort of at the DM's discretion. I think in some, because I played a game a couple of years ago where one of the guys, the barbarian in our party, we fought a bunch of were things. There were were rats and werewolves and were sheep, and the leader was a were elephant. Great campaign, by the way. DM,
Wow.
you know I'm talking to you. Yeah, a were elephant. It was fun as hell. And were bats, and he got bit by I believe a werebat, and about 3 or 4 days later he began to slowly change into a werebat. But that was it was very much a series of failed constitution checks,
Right.
a series of them, not just one. And I think it's one of those things mechanically that is up to I should look this up in the rules at some point, I suppose, but I think I did. I don't think it can happen that easy. And also, that's my first point. Point B, what's his name? Gurge even says, he's like, we took an oath. We can't do that.
Yeah.
So
like,
yeah,
if you do it deliberately, we'll track you down,
Yes.
which is something that I think a lot of people, including this guy right here, didn't know anything about it. But I have heard Matthew talk about lycanthropy in the past, like back in their offshoots in campaign 1, where they're asking questions about it, and Travis played someone in some other person's game or something like that.
They did the one shot, the something of the Lorelei. It was
that was
Liam,
more recent.
Liam DM'd.
Yeah, but more a long time ago, the first sighting of Jester back in those days, where it was
Oh,
Travis and Laura was on one
right.
side, and then
That was Ballroom Blitz. That was Sam DM'd that.
no, talking Matt DM'd this one, and this is around campaign 1 days, and there's some guy, some Irish guy, this lady I don't know, and then Marisha was
Oh
there
wow.
too. It was a
Okay.
long time ago, and I think Travis played he played a lycanthrope in that little like 2 hour one shot.
Okay.
And then they had questions about it in a later thing, and Matthew answered. He's like, "Well, it's like they have to learn how to control it through like some kind of blood
Mm-hmm.
rites or something like that. But they have to be taught how to do it. Otherwise, it just takes you over, and you turn feral, and you're just in the woods now,
Mm-hmm.
being a beast when the moon tells
Yeah.
you to, or
Hmm.
it's kind of tied to the moon or something like that.
Right. Well, I think that's also in his world, in
Yeah,
Exandria,
and
which is a
his
little bit,
yeah,
which is different.
and I
Yeah.
think he left it all kind of kludgy, just kind of like, well, I'm not going to give you all the
Hmm.
information, partially
Yeah.
because one, I don't
Yeah.
know,
Very much.
and two, still kind of writing it.
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
can't be that easy like vampirism, where you just
Yeah. No, it doesn't. There's I think I was saying this to you last week. Vampirism is also really not as cut and dry. Like,
it's not
if you
just
get bit
boop
by a
done.
vampire, you're not automatically a vampire. Vampires can feed and feed and feed and feed and feed. In D&D, they just feed and feed and feed on you, and they just suck you dry, and then
Mm,
you're done. That's it. Or they can turn you into, like, there's levels of vampire spawn, and then there's a bunch more. So there's
Jesus.
like an onion, layers.
Mm.
You okay?
I see a reflection. It kind of freaked me out because I'm looking
Oh,
outside and I saw it looks
okay.
kind of like a face.
So
It's a
anyway,
towel.
sort of answer your question. Um, I think Matt would have stopped it if they had actually volunteered. I think Matt would have stopped it. I think that they would have things would have got weird. There's too many players for them. There's too many characters for them all to have said yes.
Yeah.
So a couple of them may have said yes, and then that would have led to chaos. And some of the ones that would have been like, "No, we're not okay with this," and they would have been a fight. And there's probably Matt had a bunch of different ideas. Now, in the weird 1 in a million shot, because in a multiverse setting, there is a in an a probability of infinite universes. There is a universe where every single player said yes, we'd like to volunteer, and in that situation, then I don't know, maybe they all get turned into werewolves or
Well, it's
something.
an experiment too.
Yeah.
The guy said like, well, we had some people come in, like,
Mhm.
yeah, bit them, and we don't know if they're, we
Yeah.
don't know.
Right. No idea.
And then the
Be
further
interesting to find.
discussion, and then Matthew kind of clarifying through his mug. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you do it deliberately, we'll come after
Mm-hmm.
you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that my second time listening through. I didn't hear it my first time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
but
it's
I've
a
got
good
two
one.
question marks on that one because I'm like, that seems too crazy. But campaign 3, who knows?
Yeah, it is a weird one, because even then, when like later on, when Fern asks to be
Yeah,
bit, and she's everybody's sort of like, oh god, uh-oh, like the chaos monster is good. Jazz's chaos monster suddenly shows up, and I was even thinking about it, I'm like, what if Travis bites her? Then we get a werewolf druid weird multi-class thing going on. Like, what happens there? Then yeah, it's very, very odd. It's a Pandora's box, I think,
yeah.
that you got to be real careful about this one.
And Travis with the good question, like, who keeps track of this shit?
Yeah.
Like, how would
Yeah.
they know if we just did it in the
Hmm.
bathroom real
Hmm.
quick? You know.
Yeah, curses. Who knows? I mean, again, the homebrew aspect of it, Matt could turn around and say, well, in this case, the nature of the Feywild isn't going to allow you to change. Who knows? Like something like that. He could come up with something that's, he could have a golden parachute of some kind that just be like, yep, I'm out.
That's another good point
Here,
too, because the nightmare. What's he called?
Nightmare King.
Nightmare King. He's looking to kind of add some chaos to this shit, like most Fey creatures
Hmm.
are.
Very
So it's
much.
probably a lost cause, unless maybe one of those 3
Maybe.
volunteers actually comes back as a
Maybe.
lycanthrope. And like maybe
Who
he's just like,
knows?
well, this is
Right?
I want to try. Just to
Yeah.
just to
Well,
see if I can add some chaos to this prime material.
yeah. It very much feels like you're exactly right. Like, this is just an experiment in chaos, as Fey creatures are.
Hmm.
Right? They're chaos. That's all they want to do is sow little seeds of chaos everywhere.
And if it doesn't work, fuck it, I'll do the next thing.
Yeah. Totally.
Just like
So
Fern,
yeah.
and like anything from the Fae. In
Mhm.
my experience, I
As
don't
right,
only
as
know
the
the
traveler
Traveler and
Artagan shows us, yeah, absolutely. Like in Exandria, in this homebrew that he's made, I mean, which is
right.
honestly draws heavily from the actual Forgotten Realms setting, which most people use. The it's yeah, who knows, right? Like it could be anything. There's a bunch of nonsense. Who knows? It's fun to
Yeah,
watch, for
sure
sure.
is. Yeah. What you got?
Um, I, hmm. We're gonna jump right into the meat of things, eh?
That's what I was doing. That's my
Well,
first
I
point
know
up
that's what you
there.
did. I kind of wanted to say something at the beginning. It's not it's critical role adjacent. So I was kind of hoping I would win the first one, but I'm gonna say it, and I was like, man, don't say that, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
We're back to normal,
Um,
where I win every roll. Come on.
yeah, sure. Okay, well, I'm gonna jump out of this episode for a quick second, but into something that is critical role adjacent.
Sure.
Um,
This
there
still
is an
counts as a
artist.
response.
I know
Okay.
there is an artist called Lily Furfaro. Do you know her?
Lily Fafaro. I don't recognize the name.
Lilifurfaro. She is a yeah, Lily Furfaro. She is an artist on YouTube, and she has been putting out about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, about midway through campaign two. She started writing. She just sits in her bedroom and with a guitar and writes little 2 minute folksy little songs about the characters for each for the whole campaign too. And every 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks or so, she would write one. She wrote one about Ford and about Jester and about Bo and about um, all Caduceus and Molly and Knot and Veth and Caleb and the whole works and Yasha. And then the very last one she did was the something about Matt, about the DM's lament or something like that. And these beautiful little songs, and she's got a really sweet little angelic voice. Last week, and then she was gone, nowhere to be seen. Last week, she came back with campaign one. She started doing Vox Machina
Oh, wow.
in
Oh,
in anticipation for the
yep.
Kickstarter. So
Hey.
that's really where my point's going. Is Lily Furfaro sort of started writing these songs about the original characters from Vox Machina, which starts on Saturday, man. I am so excited about this. You have no idea. I got into it. I got into it with a good friend of ours, one of the simians that you're going to be playing with in a couple of weeks, and he was we were chatting about the whole animation process and about how they're doing everything, and I'm just super excited. And yeah, thank you, Lily Furfaro. Shout out to you for reigniting what was already a very big, bright, burning flame.
Is it
That's it.
Fufaro or Furaro?
Furfaro. F U
Fufaro.
R
Oh, I think
F
you
U R
spelled it with
F A
two
R O.
R's. Okay, Fufaro. I hope that's
Fur.
right.
Fur.
Oh, Fur. So it is
Yep.
Furaro.
Furfaro.
Oh, Fur Furfaro.
There we
There's an
go.
R
Yes.
and an F. Okay, third
Yeah,
time's
there's
a
two,
charm.
actually two of each.
Furfaro. There we go.
Yes.
All right, Lily
Yeah, and she
Furfaro.
has the sweetest, most angelic voice. It's very folksy, kind sort of folk music vibe to it. It's beautiful. Really,
Okay.
really cleverly well written songs too.
Um,
That's my whole point.
quick
Um,
thing about that in
okay,
response.
go. Yeah.
Thinking about how, especially this last episode, episode 11, where half the episode was combat and the other half was, a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of other shit.
Mm-hmm.
About, a lot of other episodes are like that, campaign one, campaign two, etc., where in the animated show you're not going to have an episode of just battle. You're not going to have one that's like half battle. The battles are going to be pretty quick in the animation. At least they have
Yes.
to be, right?
Yes. They kind of have to be.
I'm really
Yeah.
interested in how accurate they're going to keep it to what they did. I mean, I never saw it, so I don't know,
Well, you
like
gotta.
what they actually
You.
rolled and like how they kept the bookkeeping, or if they're
Yeah.
just
Well,
going
they
to kind
said
of sit there
when
with the
they were sitting
executive
around the
producers and
table.
say,
Yeah, when they were sitting around the table in the early days, like we saw some of the videos, and they talked about how they were going back and rewatching those episodes and going, "Holy shit, that was crazy! We have to do this,
yeah,
we have to do
keep
that.
the
And
20s,
how
keep
do
the
we make that
ones.
come? Yeah, how do we translate that? The one thing that I think it was Matt or maybe Taliesin said is that you got to remember that a round of combat is 6 seconds, and some of these combats were only like 3 or 4 rounds, right?
Right.
So even though they last an hour on the screen, it's actually only like 24 seconds in real time.
Hmm.
So it happens very, very fast.
Well, a
So I'm
turn is
assuming
6 seconds.
a turn is six
Yeah.
seconds.
So
Oh,
a round would be however many
no, it
people
all
have a
because
turn.
everything in that turn happens simultaneously.
Not exactly. I mean,
Yes,
there's initiative. So some
right.
things
But
happen first.
the only thing the initiative order does is decide who goes first in that 6 second turn.
Huh. All right.
So a turn is six
They get to
seconds.
decide what they do.
They get to act a fraction of a second quicker, so they get to do their thing first. That's what initiative decides. So a turn of a round of combat is 6 seconds, and everybody gets their turn in that round of combat.
Hmm. So I'd say it's about 6 seconds because if there's any kind of conversation at all, it's be like, hey,
Yeah,
this and this and this, and be like, okay, but I got to do this, and be like, use my bonus action
that
to do
stuff is
that.
that's crosstalk, table talk. That's sort of like, yeah, whatever. It just happens in the game, so you don't have to really. Most people just sort of ignore that. I've playing at some tables. You get DMs that are really, really strict about that. They're like, no crosstalk.
Mm,
If you table talk, like if you're talking here for more than a couple of seconds, that's your turn.
right.
Like you're suddenly you lose your actions and you lose all your stuff. And
Sure.
it's like
Yeah, I agree with that. I
and
like that.
that's at a table that where you're like really experienced players and everybody agrees to that, and it's like that sort of a thing. But yeah, there are tables that I played at where a DM is like watching it. It's like, hey guys, watch the table talk, and they keep going. It's like, okay, well that's it. That's your turn. That's your turn. On to you. And it's like, well, it's like, well, we agreed to these
Yeah,
rules at the
totally.
beginning of this.
I
So
like that. I like that
yeah.
cutthroat. I mean, again, I've never
Mhm.
played before, but I do appreciate that kind of,
Yep.
you know,
Yep. It happens.
like people sit there and they like start saying something for like they're going on 10 seconds. It's like you don't have this
Mhm.
much time to do it. The battle might be over by the time you finish. Like
Right.
like that's your turn. Okay.
Absolutely.
Move on. Yeah. All right,
Anyway,
cool.
that's my
Rollies.
point.
Here
Rollies. Let's
we
do this. I'll get
go.
back into the if when I
Ooh,
win this one, I'll get back into it now.
I got your roll this time.
19.
Ooh, 17. Well done.
Oh, yes. Hey, my 19 beats your 17. Okay. I'm just gonna I kind of want to do a big just a couple of points about Matt. Okay, so going into the combat, I'll set this up into the combat with what clearly is the first big boss of this first arc, the night in the Nightmare King. And when they come down the stairs, and then I forget who started combat. I think Fern did.
Uh,
Um,
I'm pretty sure it was Chetney because
oh,
they're all just kind
maybe.
of like, I'll back you
And,
up. Like Orem coming up
yeah.
behind him. He's like,
And he
I got
drew
you,
the
bud.
sword, and
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. So I don't remember exactly what prompted Matt to roll initiative, but
Oh yeah.
when he lines them
Chetney
when
starts taking his
Matt
clothes off. Sorry.
well, that's pretty funny. When Matt says as the Nightmare King, well, I'm never one to miss an opportunity, and
Mm,
he lines them up perfectly with that lightning bolt
yeah.
and gets what, like 6 of the 8 for
Yeah.
22
22.
points of
Yeah.
damage at fourth level. As when I saw that, I hit the space bar, I hit pause, and I'm like, this is going to be a TPK.
Yeah.
Like that's your opening salvo on a bunch of level 4 characters. I know there's 8 of them, 9 technically because there's Mister, and then 10 because
Oh,
there's
with
also
Gurge.
Gurge.
Yeah.
But it's still like this is not good.
Yeah. Well,
And
Travis saw
honestly,
that
like it.
immediately. He was like,
Oh yeah,
I don't know if he said
yeah.
anything, but his
Oh,
reaction was,
I think a couple of them did. And then Imogen gets hit like a couple minutes later for 20 more points of damage. I mean,
yeah.
she had to have been down at like 1 or 2, like easy, low single digit hit points at that point. And
Yeah. I
then, I
mean,
mean,
like
and
10
then
is pretty hefty at that, except for
at
Ashton.
level 4, actually, we know has like over 50 hit points, but still, I mean, like, and all of them have around 30 or 40 hit points.
Yeah.
And I was beginning to think, we talked about this last week, I was beginning to think that this might be the first little glimpse of a not a TPK, but like a what a TPK would look like in Matt's universe, where you fade to black and then you wake up shortly after, where he's brought you all back to life,
Hmm.
but through different means. But you're bound and gagged, and now he's got you at a disadvantage, and then we're in a prison break scenario of some kind.
Yeah.
Like there's, that's sort of an opportunity is what I was kind of thinking. So my point is for this one is
That'd
that
be so
Matt's
interesting.
really not like really going at it. No, the kid gloves are off on this one. Like he really is letting them all handle it. If the Nightmare King had had a couple of allies, they would have been done for. They would not have been able to lock everything down.
We had a
Like
couple of tables and chairs.
he had a couple of tables. He had a couple of tables.
And
That's
that
right.
table did
Um,
22. Was that to Imogen
yeah,
or to Orem?
that was to Orem.
Yeah.
But I
From
mean,
a
that's the thing.
table?
Yeah, from a table. So if he had, I mean, if he had a couple of real allies, like not just the furniture that gets, only it doesn't have a lot of hit points. If he had a couple of like maybe say, I don't know, those little shade creepers or whatever they were, whatever those things were called. If he had a few of those guys where they came in slash and then explode, oof, it's a very, very different battle. So I was very, very impressed with the way that Matt sort of went after them and the genuine worry I think that I saw in a couple of those guys. I thought it was very well played and fun to watch.
Yeah. They've got FCG. That's about it, though, isn't it?
Well, Fern has cure wounds
Right.
and Dorian has cure wounds
Right. Okay.
and
So,
healing word
yeah,
as
they might
well.
have been
So
fine.
they have one healer, they have one cleric, which is a dedicated spellcasting healer, and then they have two half casters in the bard
Right.
and the druid. So
Half-ass casters.
yeah, she's technically, I mean, because it's what is it, circle of the wildfire circle. So it's she's technically a full caster, I suppose. She doesn't attack very much, even
Mm.
unless she does wild shape, and they're not built for wild shape. So
Hmm.
optimally built for wild
Yeah.
shape.
I thought it was well done. There'd probably be a lot of discussion as far as like if he did TPK them and then,
Mm-hmm.
brought them
Mm-hmm.
back,
Mm-hmm.
like from some kind like what you just mentioned as an example.
Yes.
There'd
Yeah.
be lots of discussion. I'm sure the internet loves to
Mm-hmm.
fucking complain about, shit like that. And I would be also a little bit like, I mean, you could just
Yeah, well,
let it be done, and then just come in with new characters. You could.
they went, listen man, from this is that whole Karate Kid the Karate Kid standpoint, where actually if you look at it from the perspective of Cobra Kai, Daniel LaRusso is actually the bad guy. He
Mm,
goes in and steals the guy's girlfriend, and then they're just defending Johnny's honor. Like
yeah.
Daniel LaRusso is actually the bad guy in this. So in this situation, these guys are like going into this guy's dungeon. They're breaking and entering into a, I guess what turns out to be a bad guy anyway, but they're still breaking and entering and sticking their nose in business that where it doesn't belong against a very powerful dude.
Hmm.
And they did this without a long rest. So they were down
That's right.
slots. They were down some abilities. They didn't have everything at their disposal.
Yeah. It's pretty
So
reckless,
a little bit. A little
Like
bit.
I guess none of them really know what to expect at this, yet. They're all very the characters are all very naive at this point,
Very
except for
much.
maybe Ashton kind of, and then I don't know, like, even
He
Orem, Dorian,
yeah.
and Fern. I mean, they've done a little bit, but they haven't seen anything like this. It's like they
No,
went from like,
no.
all right, we're pretty good, we're adventurers, to like, holy shit, like the shit we're up against right now.
Well, like even on that note, like I made a list of what I call combat awesomeness, and
Great name.
these yeah the some because some of the stuff that they did in that combat to counter those crazy, like this fucking thing, but whatever this fake creature is, this I don't even know what it is. This what's the guy's Jack Skellington, from
Yeah.
Tim Burton. It's the only parallel I can draw. I mean, like just when Imogen blinds him, then Ashton's Chaos Rage, then Orem superiority die gives a
Orm
plus
slayed it that
7
one
to
turn.
image. Oh, dude, it was so good. This finally we get to see a good superiority die.
Quietly.
Then FCG's beer stein with no coaster on it, and then the against the tables that made me laugh.
Yeah.
And then like Fern finally using all the fire. Like she did scorching ray, she did the flaming seed from the fire monkey, just the uh sphere. What the
The
fuck is that
sphere.
called?
The sphere of
Flaming
flaming
sphere.
sphere.
Yeah, like just using
That was a great
three
move with the
different kinds of
blindness.
fire. Really good move by
Yeah,
with
he
the
walked
blindness. Yeah.
right into it, you know.
Yeah.
That was a great
But
moment.
again, kind of ineffectual. It didn't really do that much against this creature. Like that's how powerful he is.
Yeah, I think everybody at the
It
table, at least the experienced folks, is that everybody?
mhm.
Like
It's
everybody
everybody now
except
at
for
this point.
maybe, Robbie and
Robbie. Hmm.
Ashley, they all were like, dude, like
Hmm.
if he wanted to. I think they
Yeah.
even said that in RP. Like if he wanted
Yeah.
to, he could totally easily taken us out. He spared us
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
of you, Fern, you know.
Maybe
I think
that was
Imogen
an
said
odd.
that. That was right after
Yeah,
combat from the
she did.
break.
I
She
don't
was
know.
like,
Sorry. Yes, I know they said that, but I
"Oh,
don't think that's actually true. I don't
he,
think that's the reason
he
why. I think he was just like, I've had enough of this. I'm bored, and
right."
so he left. I don't think it was because
He
of Fern.
did. He was starting a something, and the acid was coming out, and then he looked at
Yes.
Fern, and he was like, "Nah," and
Oh, that's right. He did do
then
that,
he
didn't he?
grabbed a chest and
Yeah.
took off.
Yeah, and he missed the or dimension doored out, and then blew the place up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird. Very weird.
yeah. We'll
It
see
was
what
strange.
happens. You know.
Mm.
Oh God, we gotta wait 2 weeks. That's
Okay.
right. Fuck.
2 weeks. That's right. They're off next week. Your turn. What do you
Um,
got?
I guess I'll keep it somewhat relevant with my counterpoint here. It's kind of a longer one, but this is the one where, being a teacher helps because you start when it's like, oh, it sounds kind of like a dig or a negative comment, but you turn around and it's positive. Um, Ashley back to her old tricks of wonderful
Yes.
RP, but just
Yep. Yep.
not knowing. I don't know what's going on in her head.
Hmm.
I've also never done anything in front of 50,000 people or whatever the number is now.
Hmm.
There's Twitch, there's YouTube, and there's I don't know what else they're streaming on. But she just completely forgets how to play.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. She
we're
drops
we're
the
sitting
ball.
there, and I'm like, "Oh, Ashley, again." But then, like Sam chimes in, he's like, "Never let her play first. Never let
Yep.
her go
Yep.
first." And like
Right. 'Cause she
Travis, and
rolled the
then
highest initiative. Hmm.
yeah, and Marisha comes in. She's like, "Oh, I got a natural 20." No, you didn't. And like, if they give her some shit at the table, then I feel
Hmm.
much better. I don't feel like a bitter person who's never played D&D before. But
Right.
I'm sitting
Right.
back here like, how could you forget how to play? Can you
Yeah.
not handle the
Yeah.
pressure? And I get into myself. I'm like, don't be so negative, Tucker. And then
Hmm.
they start giving her shit, and then I
It's
relax.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it happened
Because
for two
they
turns.
all know that she flubs like this. She panics, she brain farts, she loses numbers. Math doesn't exist in her head anymore. It's just the
Yeah,
numbers all just float around, I'm
she does
sure.
math by
She's
ones
Yeah,
every
yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
Taliesin does
Hmm.
too sometimes, but he
No,
does it out
Taliesin
loud, so
100%.
it's
He counts. Yeah, he counts on his fingers too. It's hilarious.
yeah. It's
Listen, man,
until he
I've said this before, until you
go
actually sit down at the table and everybody's staring at you and they're waiting for you to do your turn,
ahead.
you forget that 2 + 3 is 5. You
Yep.
really do. Your brain goes 17, 18, 36, no, 35. Like suddenly basic math is impossible
Yeah.
or way harder than it should be.
I could say
Yeah.
easily in that realm when I'm streaming on Twitch, the camera and the mic gives me ADD. Like if I'm playing a game and like interacting with chat and like they'll ask me a question and I'll forget that question 4 seconds later. Like I don't have ADD, and I think I've said this before
Hmm.
on cast, but I get it. And poor thing, she just like all the rules just disappear, and there Matt is always wonderful. He's like, "It's cool, no, it's all right. There's no problem, no worries. Take your time." And she's sitting there like, "Good grief, you guys!" Sounded like a Peanuts character.
Hmm.
They're just like, "That's
Jeez
fine.
Louise.
Toss it."
I
Yeah,
think she
geez,
said
Louise.
I think she said, geez, Louise, 3. I wrote it down. I stopped, I was keeping track. I think I counted 5 times where she said, geez, Louise, and in frustration about her
Right.
own inability to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me laugh.
Yeah.
Back to her
Just
old
like
things.
the
Sure.
like, do you want to move? And she's probably up there like, I have no idea. But she stands up to look and be like, you know what? I'm gonna stay there. Like, I'm sure she had no strategy. She was just like, nope, my turn's over. And she just relaxes after that instead of planning her next move.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I don't know. But again, I've never had that much pressure before, so
mm-hmm.
don't know. All right, rollies.
Rollies.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
3.
7. Wow.
Jeez. Take it,
Got
bud.
you
What
with a
you got?
7. All right, I'm going for it. I'm gonna 137.39 into this episode. Now that'll be
Mark it,
different on
motherfuckers.
YouTube. That's when it happened on Twitch, on the Twitch stream.
Oh,
On YouTube,
right.
it'll probably be like 15 minutes before that. So around the 120 something minute mark.
Oh,
Anyway,
right,
I
because they
marked
don't
it
do that
down at
whole beginning part. I
they don't
forgot
do that
about
beginning thing on Twitch. They just jump right in, or on
Yeah.
YouTube, they jump right in. So the actual runtime of this episode was 5 hours, 10 minutes on Twitch.
Yep.
On YouTube, it's 4 hours, 50 something. So it's and then the break and the other stuff is whatever. Anyway, 137.39 when I got to stand up in my chair and look at the screen and yell and scream with them all when Chetney revealed he's a blood hunter, order of the Lycan. the bomb, man. The whole when I froze it and I rewound it because I wanted to see. I pulled a U because this is your move, looking at every single person on the cast to see their reactions, and I wrote them all down. Laura laughing her head off. I knew it. Liam going, is this incredulously? Is this real? Is this real? Is this
like
real?
his Liam lean?
He's leaning in. He's like, whatever. Taliesin with the fucking slow clap. That classic Taliesin slow clap.
As much emotion as
and
he
then,
can muster.
And then Robbie, Marisha, and Sam all fucking pointing at the monitor in the studio, like the TV.
Ashley
as the
as well.
they all
that?
were. Yeah, they're all pointing at the thing because his little gnome image changed into the fucking little tiny 3 foot tall silver fox of
he's
a werewolf.
Terrier.
It's that comment. He's a terrier. So, and Matt switching out the mini was just, Travis finally gets to play the werewolf that he always wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did one in the Lore of the Lorelei or whatever that one shot was.
Yeah.
And but they were all werewolves in that one. But I mean, the fact that the way that I read through the order of Lycan and what it actually means, where it goes is there's some punishment involved. Like they get into bloodlust, and that gets weird because they'll start attacking everything.
Especially at his level, since he's new. Again, I don't know much about it, but just what they're hinting at and what I've heard Matthew say before.
The mechanics of the game, this is the part I did look up. If he goes down at any point, if he goes down to half hit points, he has to start making wisdom saves, I think. And if he fails them, he attacks everything around him.
Good Lord.
So if there's allies around him, he attacks them. He just starts attacking everything. It gets weird. It gets very weird. But there's some really good stuff. Interesting stuff.
I loved because that kind of thing. You can't really say it was spoiled, but like I wasn't even thinking of it until I saw that fucking title on Reddit, and I bitched to you about that. I won't bring it up here, but fuck those mods. I'll say that.
Yep.
And I got in my head, and I was like, that makes perfect sense. Fuck that person. They goddamn it, they spoil it for me. So then the whole time I was thinking, okay, when's it gonna happen? Of course,
right.
But then it didn't click for me when Chetney goes up and he unbuttons it and he takes off his hat. I didn't see it. I didn't notice.
My best part, I wrote this actually down.
He pulls his pants down. He didn't say take them off. He says he pulls them down.
Well, the best part was for me was Chetney asking what gift Gurge has, and then he unbuttons cloak and takes off his beanie, and Ashton or Taliesin, as Ashton goes, all right, this is getting weird now. Yeah. Like even I was thinking the same. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here? What is he doing? Just getting ready, and I don't think just Chetney being Chetney. I'm like, well, this is good. This is getting weird. Like, what is
fucking hilarious? Like
Very, very
like
odd.
bare chested. He's just like he's like
Yep.
this tall, you
Yep.
know, sitting there just
So
like.
good. So good. Well, it's like as written, they all everything that they carry, much like the wild shape, is at the GM's at the table's discretion, like at the party's discretion, either gets absorbed or gets left behind. It says that in the book.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're doing, but I'm assuming that they're saying that everything gets absorbed, because otherwise Chetney wouldn't have any lock picks, he wouldn't have anything, he'd have no supplies, he'd be, he would have nothing left. So
Right.
I think that the clothes thing, taking off the clothes, was just flavor.
Can't
It was
imagine you
just
have to
sort
do
of
that every time.
no. It's gonna get very annoying. I think they're gonna have a little discussion about it. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll find out in
maybe
a couple of weeks.
maybe Chetney will learn that maybe from Gurge.
Hmm.
You know,
Maybe.
said
Oh, Gertch
Gurge.
took off at the end of this,
He
didn't he?
took
Or,
off,
yeah,
right?
he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
did take
slept
off.
forever, and he was like, "I'm out."
And he's like, "I'm out." Yeah, and
Yeah.
then he fucking bailed. Yep.
I was so happy
Yep.
for Travis. You know,
I know,
just
man.
like
I know.
because I knew it
So
was
happy.
coming because that fucker on Reddit. But
Mm-hmm. Well,
sorry, the
but even
mods
he
on
didn't
Reddit.
know it was coming. He didn't know it was coming. He was
No,
just a guess, right? Like nobody
sure.
knew.
That's
It's
that's
just
what they're
it, but
saying. It's not a spoiler because it's
it's not
speculation.
a
It's like,
spoiler because it's speculation, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
but it's definitely a
It's
spoiler because put it in my fucking head, so I see it as a spoiler personally,
sure, yeah,
and I
yeah.
hate it because
It's
you know me,
hard. It's
I go
hard
in
to.
fresh. You know,
I
I'm
know,
like,
I know, but it's not. They are right. It's not a spoiler because it is just speculation. It's just somebody making theories.
yeah,
That's
I
all
know,
it
but
is.
like in the title right there, you could say,
Yep.
check this out. I
Mhm.
have a theory, but nope, he said he's definitely a lycanthrope. I have proof.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, it all checks out. I didn't read it. I
Hmm.
just saw the title
Hmm.
and I went back and I was like, oh, he's talking about none of this.
Right.
Fuck. All right.
Right.
But
The
he planted it in
advantage
my
on
head.
perception.
Motherfucker spoiled
Yep.
it for me. The mods
The
didn't take it
advantage on
down.
perception
Assholes.
on hearing and smell. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's all about my
Yep.
enjoyment, Ben. It's my mine. If I get something spoiled for me,
All right.
everything else is wrong.
Okay.
That's how it works.
All right, so that's my point. I just throw in a little carryover. I'm sorry if this cuts into one of your little points,
No, I
but
got one. Go ahead.
when immediately after his turn, because he took 2 attacks and missed both of them, right?
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, FCG goes.
That's right.
And he turns and looks at Chetney. Well,
yeah.
let's make this a party. And fur starts to grow out of my and the look on Travis's
he went 90
face,
degrees.
he went 90 and he was like, he thought Travis bit hard.
Oh yeah.
Matt started laughing as
Mhm.
soon as he started talking. Matt, I went back and I watched it again and I'm like, oh yeah, Matt was in on it. Like Matt realized right away it was just a fucking joke. But Travis bit hard and that made me fucking laugh. I am Werebot 2000. Like it was fucking great. So good.
With the current early game chaos, you know, campaign 3, it's like, sure, why not? You know,
Yeah,
like Matthew as the DM, he fucking homebrews everything, you know, so
a
it's like,
robot,
sure.
a robot lycanthrope.
Like,
Come
that's the
on.
real
This is-
surprise, you know. Travis kind of saw it coming,
Surprise.
and then
Surprise,
the real
you're
surprise
all
is him.
werewolves. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I got one kind of keeping it battle oriented. I have here as a bullet point their use of polymorph. Now,
Yeah.
they know as players, you know, that if you attack something with that's been polymorphed, that, you know,
This
it goes
was
through, especially if it's something as small as a turtle.
Yep.
But if they
came
would
into
have been
play
like,
a
just
lot
hit
in
it.
campaign 2.
Say it again.
Came into play a lot in campaign 2.
Tons. Yeah, because they had, 2 people?
Oh fuck!
I'm
It was
thinking
all
of
the
campaign
time.
1. It's getting all mixed
Campaign
in now.
2 in the stone giant fortress, and then up in the Isocross, what they did the purple worm.
Yeah.
Remember they
Poor
polymorphed
Matt.
that purple worm into a fucking rabbit that kept attacking Ford.
Yeah. Well, there was the giant snapping turtle that fucking Ford was up against the wall. There was the turtle that they did turn over somewhere in Isocross, and they just kind of pushed it out, and then they made a plan and then just left.
Yep. Well, they turned it into a bunny first, and then the bunny came and attacked Ford, and Ford's armor of Agathis exploded and turned it back into a purple worm. Then Jester, I think, or Caduceus, one of them polymorphed it into a turtle.
Yeah,
and they're like on his back and
a regular turtle. And who their tour guide, that guy, he was asked to like kind of hang back and stay out of danger.
Oh yeah, what's his name? The guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't pick up he was in a wheelchair until the second playthrough. Or
oh
second
yeah, you
listen
told me
through.
that before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if I told that
a
on
sled,
stream or
a
not.
fucking amazing wheelchair sled thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
I
cool.
forgot his name, but it's not important.
I forget his
Somebody
name too.
mentioned there's like, imagine what he's seeing. This big
Yeah.
ass fucking thing, and then and
Hmm.
then
Yeah. Crazy,
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
anyway, the point.
with the polymorph, they all know as players that if you hit it, it's going to turn back into whatever it
Hmm.
was.
Hmm.
But they can't metagame that, and I think they did
No,
a fine job. They were just like, "Don't hurt
Marisha.
FCG; it'll kill
Yeah,
them." You know,
right. Marisha very briefly mentioned it. Very briefly. She was like,
Marisha
we could
did.
have just Marisha or Laura. I think it was Marisha. Very briefly said, "Yeah, we'll just have to hit." Oh, and then it was like, nope.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, but we don't
Biting,
know that.
biting. We don't know that. Yeah, they're getting much better at that metagaming stuff, which is really good.
Yeah, the difference between
Really
campaign
important.
1 and campaign 3.
Huge. So
Jesus.
yeah, it was great, and I don't think Robbie even realized that, right? Like he clearly it was, and I think
Robbie's
that's the
turn.
reason why they didn't say anything, because they all sort of realized Robbie doesn't know, because Robbie asked, he's like, is this turtle look, because his initial
Right.
reaction was to cure the turtle.
Yeah.
And he's like, is this turtle beat up? Is it banged up? Is
He's
it?
looking rough.
And I think it's looking rough. And Matt's like, prize winning turtle. He looks
Yeah.
perfect. And then they all, and that was the hint that he's perfect shape, perfect condition. And they, all of them, to their credit, all of them picked up on that. I'm pretty sure they all sort of said, oh yeah, right. We don't know this.
Yeah.
Just like Robbie doesn't know what's going on. We
Yeah.
also don't know what's going on. So
Getting
I think he
polymorph, not that big a
unintentionally,
deal, turns out.
no, he unintentionally led the charge on that one.
Yeah.
Very, in a perfect little serendipitous moment.
And fair play to Matthew as well. Choosing polymorph as a fey creature, that looks like fun. I'm going to turn that thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to step him from healing so I can maybe do some damage, but also a turtle. Fuck it.
Yep.
Like, well played. Like, all across the board.
Yeah.
Like, you can say that every time.
It was a really, really fun little play. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That was a good little move. Listen, there was some fucking yeah, like again, this goes back to my other point about the, like right before that, he phase stepped and then missed. Oh no, that was Imogen, then Misty stepped.
Right.
And then the nightmare. So he phase steps into that spot, polymorphs. Imogen Misty steps away, and then the Nightmare King pulls a legendary action at which drops Dorian, who then rolls a natural 20 and pops back up again and grabs the turtle, and Alligator rolls away.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That
what a turn.
Series, like again, that goes back to my point earlier. That series of events, I was like, holy fuck, Matt's not fucking around here. Like the fact that he's throwing in legendary actions on level 4. Travis even mentioned that. Yeah, it's like
way late in the battle. I mean, relatively.
Man, well, every turn, every round, he throws in a legendary action. And I mean, quick little soliloquy. I parallel.
Did you
parallel,
write something?
So
I thought you wrote something. You were gonna recite it.
Wrong word. Quick little arc. Little fucking brain. Go work. Damn you. Quick little tangent. That's the word.
There we go.
For. Quick little tangent. I wrote down, because I wrote this down because like he's doing legendary actions at level 4 in my D&D game, which I've been talking to you a lot about. They fought a vampire spawn last week for the very first time. I think I told you about this, right?
Yeah,
Right. And I dropped in. So as written, not in the book, but in the one of the mods that I'm using. They've got in his stat block, they've got legendary actions. They're not crazy legendary actions. They're actually quite minor. One of them is pounce. It just means he moves with supernatural speed,
tell me that,
and he can jump 20 feet. And like they're not crazy ones, but the look on when I told the players that, I'm like, and now at the end of your turn, Doru, the vampire spawn, is going to, and they all like, no, he can't wait. What do you mean he can do that? I'm like, they're called legendary actions, guys. Get used to it. And then I go, and it really, really scared them. And it was the same reaction that I saw from Travis, where he was like, legendary actions were level 4, man.
level 4.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, my players they're legendary. They did legendary action. I did legendary actions against them. They're only level 3. my legendary actions that I did with this mini boss, they weren't devastating. Although one of them was he spit blood. He bit he bit the halfling and then spit the blood. Legendary action spit the blood into the eyes of one of the spellcasters. So now she's casting her spells at disadvantage.
Right.
It was like, that's a tough little. I was like, I'm a jerk. That's a terrible thing to do to a spellcaster, but
It's pretty
hey,
brutal. But
yeah,
hey,
pretty brutal.
good to get them
But
in
again,
now.
not
So they can be more
yes,
prepared next
exactly.
time.
Totally. That's the idea.
Do you remember what
Get him
the
in.
legendary action was that put Dorian down? I don't remember.
It was a. Uh-oh.
Because he's like, it's like you picked the exact number that I had. And that's all I remember.
I think it might
was
have just been an
14.
attack.
Just another attack.
I think so. I think it was just a legendary action, just a strike.
Because I think it was like 11 and then like, 3. He's like, well, like, so I think it was just like another couple of swipes or something.
I think it might have been just a swipe. Yeah.
I think it was 2,
Damn,
but I could be wrong.
I didn't write it down.
I know it was like
I just wrote
14
there was a
points of damage.
legendary. Yeah. I think it was just a strike. I think it was just a, yeah. Yep. Anyway,
is it rolling time again?
It's rolling time.
All right. This might be one of our last, it looks like, according to time. And yeah. Oof. Middle of the road. 11.
6.
Ooh, look at that.
There you go. There you go.
That old feeling comes back, that whole winning shit. All right. So I'm going to go past the battle. I'm going to go into the second half here.
Yeah. Good.
There's a couple of points here. I'll probably get both of them out.
Go for it.
Matthew is explaining it's closer to the end when they talk. They go back to how do you say his name?
Lord Eshtaros.
Eshtaros. Esh. I keep on wanting to say
it's a weird one because there's S at the end and there's an Esh.
Yeah.
Eshtaros.
I keep going back to Game of Thrones, Westeros, Eshtaros.
Yeah.
Like the W's throwing me off. I keep thinking there's an R in a different place, kind of like Lily for Faro. It was kind of just a cool little moment where Matthew's telling them about the bathhouse, right? And he, as Matthew does, he explains it beautifully, and he's probably pulling some shit out of his ass, but he's such a great storyteller. You can't tell what he's had prepared or what he's just making up. Just beautiful and you guys just get treated like this, and you feel guilty, perhaps. If you would so feel guilty like I do if I get a massage, I feel guilty that they're working so hard and I'm relaxing. That's why I don't get massages. And then he's just like, I know it's a thing. And then he's like, all right, so if nothing else, then we can just move forward. And then everybody chimes in. They're like, wait, no, hold on. Like Orem and his naked forms that he's doing out there. Well, he wasn't naked until Laura said, dick out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Fern with the pet treatment and Laudna with her fingernail falling off and shit.
Oh,
and
God.
The massage. And I think everybody got a thing in there, And Matthew was just ready to blow past it, going to the next part. Everyone's like, no. Yep. Everybody raises their hand.
Even Ashton, like even Taliesin was like, Ashton has a bath and then like, no, don't touch me, and then he fucks off.
Yeah.
Like and then FCG gets oiled down, gets with the
right.
Like everybody, they all did. They all got stuff.
Yeah, I just love that they're so eager, like such eager students to be like, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, it was amazing. The one thing that bugged me about this, though, is that they said when they were with Lord Eshtaros, they're like, okay, well, he's like, I need to write down a name for you for the ball. And then Taliesin, or as Ashton says, oh, we could do that in the bathhouse, right? And I was like, shades of Mollymock there. Like that's that whole little, that sort of a thing going on.
They're all pushing it off, man.
Yeah. And then, very much so. And then like but then in the spa, there's no name. They all do their own thing. Well, like, Dorian and Chetney go and have their little couples massage, but the rest of them all do their own thing, and they never actually sort of hang out and talk about the name like the Mighty Nine did when they would all have a bath and they go to the spa and have a bath together in the big hot tub and shoot the shit. They all sort of went off in separate ways. It was that dynamic for me was kind of interesting. I noticed that right away.
a little more believable. I mean, usually
Right.
like a spot. It was a little
Yes.
off-putting in campaign 2 when they all just got naked and got
Yes.
into a tub. I'm like, that
It
doesn't
was.
seem right for
It
everybody, you
doesn't.
know.
It doesn't seem right. Like
But
there are some. Ford would never do that.
right,
Jester probably would. Yasha clearly would. But
Liasha easy, Bo easy, but I don't think
yes.
Jester would. I
No, I
think
don't
she'd
think she
go in
would
with
either. I think
garments, you know,
yeah, so do I. So do
like
I. Caleb probably not also. It did seem weird that they would all just jump in there and like and I
yeah.
agree.
Caleb
This one
getting
felt
naked at
more
the ocean, that makes sense. But at the
mhm,
spa, that didn't make
no,
sense. But you know,
nope.
whatever. They got a name out
Yeah,
of
yeah.
or some. No, they just talked about stuff. But
They just yeah, exactly. They just talked
so
about stuff. But that was I mean, in this one they all sort of it was more believable. They all kind of went off and did their own thing.
yeah, it was natural. It was organic. I'm a
hmm
little nervous
hmm
about the name. And they discussed the new nobodies, which
that was the end. I'm kind of into it. I hope I'm kind of thinking it might stick. And if it does, I'm okay with that because the new nobodies is kind of fun. It's like, who are you? We're the new nobodies. Well, who are the nobodies? Nobody. It's there is some fun dynamic that you can play with there, and I kind of like it. We're the new nobodies. The new nobodies, yeah, we're nobody, but
yeah.
new. It's
I
there's
think it's fine too. I don't
mhm.
know if I've told you this on cast or not, but like I don't think there's a band that I've been in where I liked the name, you know, because you have to come
Ah,
up with a name. It's like asking someone's like, "Hey, from now on,
mhm.
you're gonna call me Clifton."
Right.
You're like, "Why Clifton? Doesn't matter. Just a choice, okay?"
Just a choice, yeah.
You know. But then later on, after you're in the band for a while, it's just becomes the name of it, you know.
hmm
So it kind of
hmm
define the music defines the band name or something like
The
that, you know.
the very first what was the name of the very first band you were in?
Very first
You yeah,
ever.
very first band ever. Well,
Uh,
mine is while you're thinking about it, mine is when I was in high school, grade, I'm gonna say probably about grade 10, grade 9, grade 10, something like that, early in high school.
mhm.
We formed a band with me and my brother and my best friend and another couple of guys, and our band name was My Tailor is Rich.
My
That
tailor
was
is rich.
yeah, my tailor is rich. That morphed, and that was just we it was a there's a really dumb story about it. There was a guy who was staying with us from France, and the very first English words he ever learned was "My tailor is rich," and that struck us as hilarious. We're like, that's what we'll call our band. My tailor is rich.
That's pretty
So it
easy.
was pretty easy. Then we had bands after that were always all ridiculous names as well. But that was the very first band that I ever was in.
Yeah, the first name of the band was Mr. Meaner. We did punk covers.
Misdemeanor. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. That's a clever
Yeah, it's
name.
not bad, but I think someone saw it on a sticker, you know, and they're like, hey, it sounds like
Mm,
misdemeanor and you know,
misdemeanor. Yeah, yeah,
and so I think it
yeah.
was borrowed or stolen, but that was the
Sure.
first name. The second one was called the Tards, but I'm not supposed to be able to say that. Like, wait, we're not on Twitch, so we're fine.
Does doesn't work. That doesn't work.
But that was
That,
a
that
side
definitely.
project where we just improvised everything and we never played out,
mm,
you know.
I'm not going to comment. I'm no comment from me on this one.
The T
Okay,
words.
so
That
I
looks
think
bad on
it's
me.
I think it's my turn here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the rest of
yeah,
mine are up. Actually, one of them's kind of a bigger point, but yeah, I got about one more
I've got.
response here. So lay it
I
on me, bud.
mean, I'm going to go right to the. I'm going to go right to the very end. And I think this is like when Imogen goes into the um she finally gets the letter from the
From
from
Esteros.
Lord Esteros to get into the Starpoint Conservatory.
Say it
She's the
again.
only
I'm
one
gonna
that's
write it
allowed to
down so I
go in.
remember it.
She's the only one that gets to go in. Just a quick little thing. One of the like Sam as FCG says some really funny shit, but when he says as she's walking in, you can do this. You can accomplish anything if you believe in yourself or if you have wealthy parents.
If you have rich
Just
parents.
fucking oh man, so goddamn funny. Like just what brilliant quote from
And
him.
just
But
deadpan too. Just
and totally deadpan in
I mean
his
it's
Ted Lasso fucking Kansas City voice.
I keep
Great.
forgetting that
Um,
it's totally Ted Lasso. I keep forgetting that reference.
the
It's
point that I have about this one is when last week I was talking about how things are all coming together and how like threads are finally slowly starting to be well like going back to just a whole ton of things like Gurge getting like with them grabbing him and then the dire wolves and that was actually him and all of these little sidebars that were just coming in leading to the Nightmare King, which then leads to the when they get to the anger and they're talking about the attack on Keyleth, which was with these sludge monsters, which they fought a sludge monster in that crazy dwarf, whatever the creepy fucking dwarf that they fought just a few episodes ago. Um, they and but when as Imogen finally finds that book with the shared dream of the red storm that consumes all in a 30-year cycle at the moon's solstice. So this is sort of like when and then she finds out that one of the contributors to that study was Liliana Tumult, which is Imogen's mom. And then the pages are all torn out. The rest of the pages are all gone. That moon thing, it's a 30-year cycle about the moon, which is all about Chetney, which is the like the in the and then where are those goddamn notes that I wrote about the twins that were killed.
Yeah.
They were attacked by those sludge monsters. And they were also investigating. They were scholars at the Star Point, investigating planar contact, celestial bodies, stars, and then crystal fauna in the Heartmoor, whatever the fuck that means. And then they were attacked in the Heartmoor on their way to visit Astani, the retired astronomist. So this red storm, which is about the 30-year cycle about the moons, which is Chetney is a werewolf, and then this, I'm like, Matt has got these threads out there, and I can't fucking wait until they all of them come together for some whatever. I don't know, but it's just all of these points I was looking at and just like, well, there's this, there's that, there's this. It's like a fucking murder board, right? Like one of those conspiracy theory boards.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
strings all connecting to another one, blah blah blah. That was going on in my brain. I'm like, this one to that one to this one to that one to there, and then it goes to that. It's just awesome.
And I leave that to you because I don't like to get into that. I just like to watch, and then maybe I'm
Yeah.
correct about something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what's
Yeah.
the quick question? Because I know you mentioned that 30-year cycle. What's the annual cycle that the Winter's Crest?
Winter's Crest is only a Tal'Dorei thing.
Only Tal'Dorei.
That's
That's right.
the
Yeah,
yeah. Only Tal'Dorei does that.
but it had
He
something to do
because
with it's them in the
I
bond
think
or
that's
the
this. I
separation
think that's
between
this.
planes gets weaker during that time.
Yeah, I think that's something that has to do. So he said that the big moon Katha has a similar to Earth moon cycle, and
Right.
then Rudis, the small red moon,
Ruidus.
has Rudis,
Ruidus.
Ruidus, right? It has a 6-month cycle.
Okay.
It moves much slower,
Right.
and I think that might be when they line up in 6 months and then 1 month, and when they line up in that one spot, that might be the where the something
The Winter's Crest something, and then
yeah.
the something between planes becomes weaker, and then that was a big part of the first campaign. But
Yeah,
right when
that
the
was
Chroma Conclave came out, it was like, and we
mhm,
just had Winter's Crest. That was like 2 weeks ago, and that's when the
mhm.
rift showed up.
Yeah,
Something.
Raishon opens up the rift, yeah,
Yeah, and then
to let
Thordak comes through in the fire
Thorak out.
plane, whatever.
Hmm. And the fire Ashari get
Fire Shari. Yeah,
fucked. Yeah,
anyway,
something
yeah,
like that, something along in those lines. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
that's what I got. That was my point. The fucking connecting everything together with Imogen, which I didn't see coming. I was
mm,
I was shocked by that one. I was like, whoa, wow, okay, so that's this red storm that she is dreaming about is actually something that is,
yeah.
yeah.
This sandbox is all encompassing. It
Yeah, yeah,
seems
yeah.
so far.
It's crazy. I mean,
Um,
I got a bunch more. Oh, sorry, it's your turn. Go.
uh, quick one here. It's not a big one, but when Matthew's describing the bathhouse, he says a beautiful alabaster bathhouse,
Hmm.
which Whitestone is a part of the Alabaster Sierras, which is
Yes.
where the Whitestone comes from, right?
Mm-hmm,
Now,
mm-hmm.
I'm just asking you. I didn't Google it or anything, which I'm sure I could really quickly. Alabaster, is that an adjective? I
No,
mean,
it's a
like,
noun.
can I
Alabaster.
describe something as alabaster, like the alabaster
Yeah, yeah, you
background,
can.
like a
The
texture?
alabaster is it's the color of
Mic
the
discipline.
yeah, it's not I'm sorry.
Mic discipline.
Alabaster. Alabaster is it's like describing something. It's like marble.
Okay,
It's
right.
like
So I
the
can say like the
color of
marble
marble. It's like
Sierras.
the sure, yeah,
Okay, so it
absolutely.
might just be
Yes.
one of those cool words that Matthew likes to
Mm-hmm,
use. So
mm-hmm.
probably or maybe not a connection between
Nah,
this and
nah.
Whitestone, even though Laudna and all that. and his
Nah,
winter crest and all this moon
nope,
stuff. I
nope.
mean,
That's a stretch, guaranteed. That isn't
all right,
as
because when
far
he,
as I know.
I think the only reason I picked up on
canon.
that is because I'm also watching the first campaign, so it's all melding
Mm-hmm,
together, and it's
mm-hmm.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, he was saying. Yeah, never mind. No, sorry, I'm looking at something different. Never mind.
yeah. I think at this point,
Right.
hey, there's Looney. Looney just showed up in your background. Lacey's just off screen.
Yeah, she's
I
staring
can
at
see her in the
me.
phone call, but
Oh
not on
yeah.
the stream.
Mhm.
Um, Rolly for the last one.
Rolling for the last one.
Sure, I
Yeah,
like to
sure.
roll. I'm gonna win, of
I
course.
got I got a fun one for my last one anyway, so
All
it's all
right.
good.
Well, I'm gonna win, so you're gonna go second,
Yeah.
obviously, with an 18.
8. Yeah, I got an 8.
All right. Real quick one for me. This is my
Oh.
last one that I had written down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall when Chetney lost his chisel when he was fighting the
Oh,
Nightmare King.
he
Because he's like, oh, that was in his back, and then he had to go get
yeah.
more.
The Fey King had just face step Fey King. The Nightmare King had just face stepped away. So Chetney was out of range. And so he threw the chisel
Okay.
at him.
Oh, okay. And then
Because
they said it hit him in the back
he
or
had
something.
face stepped to the desk. That was right before he grabbed the
Grabbed the chest and pieced out.
grabbed the chest and pieced out. Yeah.
Huh. All right. I guess I just didn't catch it those 2 times.
Yeah. So it was something like that. Did he even hit him with the chisel? I think he did.
They said it's in his back, that he had his
Yeah.
clothes, but nothing,
Yeah.
he just had that one piece that was gone.
Yeah. Interesting. If it was in his back, it would have gone with him then. I don't know how that stuff works. I don't really pay that much attention to it.
In
That's
the
why you
fa-
don't throw.
in the Nightmare King's back. So
Yeah.
it
Yep.
must have hit.
I think it did. Yeah.
But again,
It
I
did
didn't
some
catch it
damage.
2 times through,
Mhm.
so maybe I'm
Mhm.
completely wrong. That's it for me. What do you got?
I got my because one of my favorite things to watch is the Sam's fucking nonsense of his gas can. So I've been avoiding Wordle for a couple of weeks now since it's sort of been popping up in social medias.
Yeah,
But
it's going
when
crazy at
Sam
my job right now.
it's going crazy everywhere. So when Sam pulled that up, and he slowly started pulling the post-it notes up. Do you play Wordle at all? Do you know how it works?
I know how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like
'cause
Mastermind.
exactly. It's right, but there's like a Scrabble version of it.
Yeah.
So I started playing it as a result of this. But the 3 words. So he had 4 words on his gas can. 4 Wordle words. The first one is elbow. Liam's upper. Don't know. So I was in my brain. I'm trying to figure out what that 5-letter word. He never shows us. We don't get to see the 5th word. It's elbow, Liam's upper something. 5-letter word. Upper mouth, upper
lip. So, well, I mean,
it has to be a 5-letter word.
right.
I couldn't fit. I don't know. I can't. Who knows? Like, I think part of me is like, I think he left it. He didn't show us intentionally for this
Right.
exact reason. Because he's like, come up with a 5-letter word, guys, and let me know what you think.
Actually, I think I didn't notice. I noticed what it was, and then they talked about it. They were like, I think Taliesin was like, I'm glad that I don't know what that is yet.
Yes. Yeah. A bunch of them commented on that. They're like, oh, this Wordle, fuck Wordle. So I guess I'm assuming it's really big in the States right now.
It must be.
It's
And Travis said, he's
one of
like,
those things.
anything trending, I just turn the other way.
Great comments from all of them. I loved it all. I was like, yeah, that tracks. I like that.
There's got to be a term for that because a lot of people do that. There's like popular music, or once their band makes it huge, it's like, fuck those guys,
Yeah.
There must be a term. It's a natural
sure
human thing to do,
I think it's called being old and grumpy.
Is that what it is?
Oh,
that's new and cool. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
Yeah, it's like how Gwen Stefani was cool when she was in No Doubt, but then as soon as she got famous, it was like, no, fuck that band. Like I never listened to them.
Not interested in her at all. Yeah. Weird, eh? Funny how people do that.
Same with Blink, Anyway.
Hey man, I think that's it. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I'm all
Great conversation.
all out here. Let's do some shameless self-promotion again.
Give
It's
her.
hard to promote things when you got, the shit going on. I think I said it like that last week too, but got a show in Taipei on the 29th at the second James Joyce. If you happen to be around and we're not
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
restricted, or if it doesn't get canceled between then and now, and if
mm-hmm,
you're feeling like you're safe enough, come on out and say hi. I'd give you an address, but I don't know it. I just get in
mm-hmm.
the car and they take me where I need to
And
go.
right, right.
Um, and I guess I have another show in February, but I'm not sure about it yet.
Mm-hmm,
Not sure
mm-hmm.
what's going on with that. But
I got nothing to promote. I'm going down to Kending next week for
taking it
Chinese New Year.
ease.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
I got a show at the beach. That's what I got. I don't really have much to talk about. We do have something to talk about though. Next week,
Yep.
Critical Role is off. They are taking a break from a monthly. They're going to take
Their
every fourth week off.
their monthly
So
break. Yeah.
their monthly break. They're taking a break, but they are doing a one shot, and we've talked about possibly doing something for it. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, I'm going to be in Kending, so maybe just maybe I'll hop on my cell phone and just do a quick little. We could do a quick little chat.
Yeah, we're gonna play it by ear for that one.
Yeah.
If we have things that we particularly want to talk about, and
Mhm.
also if the phone works out, it should work out fine with this
It
setup
will.
that we've
It
got
will.
here, with this wicked setup we got. Um, but yeah, we're gonna play it by ear. If we may or may not have one next week, and this might be a good opportunity if we don't do it. If I can get this shit figured out, put the other episode up.
Hey, yeah, right on. Right
So
on,
if
right
that
on.
works out too, but if yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, man.
Anything else?
Nope, I got nothing.
Okay, cool. Well, hey man, it's good talking to you.
It's great
Peace.
talking to you.
And if I don't see you, well, now we'll talk. Okay.
We'll talk.
All right, cool. Well, I'm taking off then.
Yep. All right, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. And
Cool.
don't forget to love each other. And is it finally Friday?
Hey.
Peace.
Peace.